Well, welcome to another rip-roaring edition of the full 80 minutes on Show Me the Money Rugby League TV. I'm back, it's Mick the GameCaller Gledhill, we've got Show Me the Money, we've got Jimmy Mack, and we've got the King, the Postman, Craig, Show Me the Money Harrison. We're going to talk about the ills of the game now. An important sort of crosshair, you might want to say, is IMG. We had the big unveil in Manchester. They're still dotting the I's and crossing the T's in terms of how the grading system and how the grading criteria is going to look and how it's going to work. We know there's going to be an A grade, a B grade and a C grade. A lot of people, including IMG at that initial meeting, none of this is new by the way, they're saying there's only 4 or 5 current A clubs, so that is giving a lot of the championship clubs hope that they can displace some of the current top flight Super League clubs who also will be given a B grading. Unfortunately, and we'll start with you, Craig, since we had this sort of seismic announcement, because it was like taking Rugby League back to the Super League War of 1995 when there was mergers mentioned and everything that Maurice Lindsay and the RFL at the time thought would benefit the game of Rugby League and benefit the sport. It almost feels like when we went to Manchester the other month and we sat there with IMG, we had the presentation, we had the same presentation that the clubs have had, so members of the media like myself who were all treated equally. It did feel like a pivotal moment, you know, like you're getting the hammer and you're breaking the glass, you're breaking the third wall down, and you know, I left feeling a little bit positive. But now, being honest, Craig, I'm not so sure, because one fundamental flaw with this whole bold vision and plan for IMG is the fact that 2023 is being interpreted not just by the clubs, not just by the players, but by supporters, myself, us lovely people here included, as a sort of fallow year. What have you got to play for? We're seeing it in the Championship now. Not many clubs are actually opening the checkbook and going crazy. We know Bradford have sort of strengthened significantly, but that's on the back of a very difficult year. We expected Featherstone and Toulouse to potentially go gung-ho again, like it was this year with Featherstone and Leigh. That's not materialised, that's not happened, because they know it's a fallow year. And there's a chance that whoever goes up from the Championship this year, the grading comes out in 24, you've got 1 year in Super League and then you're straight back out through the trap door. That is what I get from the Championship chairman. It must be even worse for Super League, because, like you say, they all know there is virtually nothing to play for next year. Yes, there is the Super League title. Yes, I'll make a big bold prediction now. It will be probably Leeds, St Helens or Wigan who win the title again, like it always ever seems to be. The challenge has to be to your Hull FCs, your Warringtons, you know, your Catalans who came so close to beating St Helens last year, the year before, you know, to raise the game and put themselves in the mix. But look, I know there's a lot of stuff to discuss and hopefully, you know, have a constructive debate about. But, you know, for IMG to say the licensing doesn't go live till the 1st of January 24, which is a huge year, because 24 is how the clubs are going to be judged. Yes, this current year is a dry run, but how does a dry run help the sport of Rugby League when we're now in the final 12 months of a new of the remaining Sky TV deal? So for those that don't know, we got a 2-year stay of execution by Sky. Sky basically said, look, we'll give you 2 years to sort yourselves out. Here you go. Here's a 2-year extension for £16 million less. I just can't see how in 12 months, and they're already talking to Sky, and everybody's putting their eggs in the basket that this IMG revolution is going to be the transformation that the sport needs. But sadly, you know, we're left with this sort of horrible year, which is 2023, where you could excel in the Championship and go up, and you could be coming straight back down due to the grading. And likewise, whoever gets relegated from the from Super League to Championship this year, they could go down and then be straight back in the next year because of the grading. Listen, we all knew, and the club signed up for this. I don't know what you're hearing, Craig. I'm just hearing a lot of frustration. My message to IMG is, please, you said there was going to be honesty. You said there was going to be transparency. There's a lot of people in this sport who are asking questions, and sadly, we're not getting the answers. Over to you, Craig.
We did a bit on this last week, didn't we? So thank you, because we always know your input, Mick, is well educated and it's honest. Sometimes you're biased, but with that, you certainly wasn't then.
There's no bias, Craig.
Yeah, I've just said, yeah.
They announcing next year that the question was asked to IMG, so 23, nothing to play for. Well, their reply was, well, it's a dummy run on the grading, but what good does doing a dummy run on the grading benefit the sport when we're 12 months away potentially from Sky saying your viewing figures are down, your crowds are down, the product's down? What are we investing in? Or do IMG and the Super League and the RFL go in blind to Sky and say, look, this is going to be the Stones Bit of Championship into the Super League moment? And I suspect Sky probably will buy it, and that might be a bit of an overreaction by me. We know Channel 4 are going to continue their coverage.
You're hoping that's already done, Mick. You're hoping that IMG already know by doing this, they've already got a certain deal with Sky. Your problem is if you lose, and I've talked to quite a few chairmen in the last 7 days, because I made a little comment last week and I made sure I back up. I hope IMG are asking all the clubs from all the divisions how's the season tickets going. I hope they're asking how's the corporate going. I hope they're asking how the sponsorship on the tops are going. Because if they're not getting that information, and what I'm hearing, that information post World Cup, which is tough, Football World Cup, which is tough to plan something after that. We've got the worst crisis, the electrical, whatever the bills is coming here. Financially, we're all skinned. We've got Christmas coming up. I hope they're getting that information, because if it was me and I would get in that information, and I'm hoping that'd be a sensible thing to email every club every month or every 3 weeks, say, where are you? Probably keep out the COVID one, probably the year before COVID, and say, just at that, let's have a look where we are. If them figures are slower, which we know, by the way, we know they are down, unless clubs are going to come out and say, no, I'm already up, which we'd love to hear because it's positive news. If they are down, because we know, they need to get something out quick to make it exciting. We cannot, let me tell you, this game of ours can't afford a year out. With Saints going for a 5-timer, with the Challenge Cup, as Jimmy said last week, or Joe, not being the competition it was, with everything, the reserves were an absolute joke, and the academy actually were good. The academy ended up being a great final, and we got some out of it. But we're not that exciting, guys. It's not, and we're fighting here on the back of, as I say, this Football World Cup. We're fighting on the back of 100 other sports. You historically said on the show 5 years ago, which caused hell on, when you said where we are in the sports in the UK. And no one believed it when you come out with them comments.
We're not even, Craig, in the top
funding,
5.
Guys, you want that?
We're not in the top 5 sports. We're not in the top. We've got to face reality. We are a regional sport.
No, what you said about the funding, we've gone to number 30. We've gone down.
We're down to 30. We're down to 13
with women's netball, aren't we?
Yeah, women's netball.
Yeah, which is good sport. We're not calling we need to be. Yeah. Well, that's for everyone. But I get it. We're now looking at selling our game on the back of us. I think if they've not been involved in it, they might not know the seriousness of what we're on. We've never seen a lack of demand for players. Ever what's happening. It just isn't there. And it's not just the demand. And we might say, well, you've got all your contracts. That's an easy answer. We've got your place. No. At what level have you got them in it? At what excitement have you got them out with? A chairman said to me the other day, and I'll put it to you, all this. He said about the problem is the reporters are announcing the signings when they're happening, whereas before they'd pushed this for now for season tickets. So they've gone for a massive campaign saying this, and then they've got the season tickets out. They're saying the journalists are getting it early and opening it in June, and they usually saved all these till end of year. Adapt, because if you're actually saying that in a modern, so what? UFC breaks the fights early. It's not all this big official. They usually, Dana tries to keep it quiet, but usually now, everybody, the social media's done one thing. It's giving you initial news. It's giving you up to date, immediate, bang. Adapt to that. Use that for your own good. See that and say, okay, they're going to get that on the platform. I'm going to come on back of that, and then we're going to push it up. You're probably never going to be able to do that again. The world won't allow somebody to keep a signing for 6 months. It's probably impossible.
Especially in rugby league, because it's such a small
community.
And as I found out the other Sunday, I go out for a lovely Sunday evening jaunt. I meet a couple of Halifax players. I find out who Halifax are signing. You know, it's.
But again, Mick, in the olden days, you'd get a man and a couple of player had signed for a club. His wife might tell neighbour, unless the neighbour knew some paper or a paper, they wouldn't be able. It wouldn't have gone nowhere. There'd have been old village heroes. Hey, we all know he's selling his house, but you wouldn't have had nobody to tell. You can't now. You can go. He's got a house up for sale.
But fundamentally, I think it's a very weak argument for clubs to say journalists are breaking players, transfer deals for poor season ticket sales. Poor season ticket sales are on the back of a poor product. Let's not kid ourselves. If the product
poor marketing by the club.
If the product was worth paying for, people would buy it. You know, you buy an iPhone, you buy a Samsung. People, I know you talk about the cost of living crisis. Yes, we are going through unprecedented times. You know, my gas and electricity bills are going through the roof. It's scary. I mean, I don't even have the gas on, and they're taking 94p a day off me. It's criminal. I could smash the machine to bits. Honestly, it's disgusting. But people are having to go through this, and there's the winter fuel poverty, there's the cost of living poverty, the food poverty. You know, the taxes are about to go up. A lot of people in the sport are scary. Let me tell you, Craig, 2 Super League clubs currently have sold under 2,000 season tickets.
I know,
and they're scared. One League One club, I won't name them, they've sold. The season tickets had been on sale for a few weeks, and they're currently at 36 season tickets. Now you might laugh at that, Craig.
No, I don't laugh. I definitely don't laugh.
A League One club at 36 season tickets. How the hell do you make that work? We know League One semi-professional, and to just give you a rough idea, semi-professional players in League One, they might be on 2, 3, 4 grand at most a year. But how is that club paying those players when they're at 36 season tickets? You know, but this is the whole issue we've got with Rugby League, Craig. It needs to attract new fans. Year on year, there is natural wastage. I know that sounds a horrible term, but sadly, people are walking away. People are sadly passing away. Where's the next generation of Rugby League supporters going to come from? And this is not just going to happen overnight. This won't happen overnight. Look at America and look at baseball. That is how I see Rugby League in this country. It's this great sport which everybody remembers the granddad and dad taking them to.
Judge me hanging by me.
Sorry, but that's where I see where it's. That's where I see where it is. And regardless of what's gone on with the Robert Elston, the Nigel Wood, Ralph Rimmer years, the sport is in terminal decline. So we know a little bit what IMG are trying to do. Hence why we got given the wonderful presentation. They mentioned Bradford for the crowds, they mentioned York for the stadium, they mentioned Newcastle for growth, they also mentioned London, which is backed up by the World Cup ticket sales, because that crowd at the Emirates, over 50% of those people were people new to the sport of Rugby League from London. Now, if I'm David Hughes, I'd be like saying, right, Mr. Rugby League World Cup, we want your data for these 20-odd thousand people who have actually come to the Emirates from London. Can we try and get them in at Plough Lane at Wimbledon?
Mick, a chairman said that to me last week. A chairman said one thing they can try, and he were on about another chairman. He said he's getting to the World Cup email list and say, can we have that database? But I think there's a data protection on it. I don't know how that works.
There is, Craig.
You know, could we get some of that, and we can use that to get the tickets out? Listen, I did say they could have done with saying that on the BBC. If you want to watch a game, please. That could have been an easier way without the data protection of saying anybody who's watching this and Mick, do you know what they should have done? I'm going to give another one. Maybe at games, they should have put big placards out saying if you're at Emirates, your nearest Rugby League pitch is London.
Red
Here's where
Records,
it is.
Yeah.
Here's your fixture
Wimbledon.
list. .co.uk, get your tickets live. We should have thought on about this. I said this to Joe this morning, and I'm serious. And I probably asked Mick when we were looking at what to do for a show. People might say, well, they did a bit of this last week. We did. That's how serious it is. I really thought that this IMG, I never got the buzz off Robert Elston, because you educated me very quickly where you saw it and you got it right, and I'd stick up for you with anybody on that. I'd say anybody, let me finish, anybody, there were no after time with me, Mick, on that. You were in from day one. You kept strong and you were proved exactly right, and they should have all come back to you and said, all that stick you got, they should have bowed and said, no, Mick were right, he called it exactly what was going to happen, and it happened. IMG, I got a bit buzzy. I probably thought, because I'd read into it and I'd spoke to the guy from IMG for 2 hours, I know the backup they've got in media, I know the backup they've got in social media and marketing. We've got to, I don't know if we're missing a beat here, we've got to get their big guns over here looking at rugby league. Somebody just said Snoop Dogg signed up to IMG, the newest one, they've announced it. Get Snoop here talking about rugby. I'm serious, it's not fun.
Snoop charges 250,000.
Yeah, well, let him get it. Let him put it. Listen. Not just that. Get around the sport, which YouTubers are taking over the world of marketing.
Yeah, they are.
They're taking it over every sport.
Yeah.
Every sport, and now Eddie Earn's looking around his shoulder, and these YouTubers are going to come and beat him. He's beat sport 40 years.
You've only got to look at.
We've got to do it.
KSI.
I tell you now, UFC Dana said we'll never have a gimmick like that. It will. Next 3 years, Logan Paul will be fighting their kid in ring. There'll be something they'll do.
Well, they've signed Hasbulla, aren't they?
Well, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. So there will be things now. Do you know no, but you know what I'm saying? There will be things there.
Sam Alice, you joining the UFC? Sorry, Sam. Sorry.
I can't laugh. I'm smaller than Sam.
But by the way, happy birthday to Steve Crossley, and also Sam. All the best at Hunslet.
Listen, you take the stick off the lads. You think it's a bit of crack, right? But how I see it is, who have we got? What are we selling this game on?
Craig.
Mick, I'm going to ask you, no. I'm going to ask you all now, one by one.
Yeah.
Rugby League this year, what's it been sold in apart from Saints 5-time?
It's not even been sold on that, is it? I'm not seeing it anywhere.
Well,
come on.
There's nothing so far.
Nothing?
No, there's nothing.
Joe?
But like I said last week, there hasn't been anything yet. So I'm hoping that after Christmas it starts.
I'll go.
But it could be too late by then.
I'll go.
No.
I'll go.
What, you've spent all your Christmas money, you're not getting season ticket when they come out with all the drum?
I won't know until I know what clubs usually have sold by now and how far behind we are. And I expect that this year.
30%. 30%, Jimmy. 30%.
He'll know.
30% across the board. Season ticket sales are down.
Yeah, brilliant. Because I asked that before.
That's an average. That is a rough average. What the clubs are saying, and Craig's spoken to Super League, and he'll confirm the down. Championship with myself down. It's around 30%.
If it's around 30%, it's around 30%, then I totally change what I'm saying then, because
30%.
I was expecting that maybe we might be talking 10 to 20, but 30 is massive.
30%, yes.
Massive. And if there is, understandably, because if you think of a rugby league fan, let's say they've probably spent £200 to £300 more than they would have done because of a World Cup.
Correct.
So that might have been their season ticket money eaten up. So they might now be thinking, right, I've now got another 2 months to save that money so I can then buy my season ticket. So I do expect a delayed onset and season ticket sales to be delayed because people have probably spent their disposable rugby money on the World Cup. That's fine. 30% does sound rather high, and there's obviously other reasons that we've mentioned that could be factors. Clubs need money now. The lower down you go, the more they need it, because like you say, players will be getting paid as of the last couple of weeks, or even League One clubs starting this week and next week once pre-season starts, even if it's covering expenses for some of the lads or paying their smaller salaries. They need money coming in. Now, this is where I think it's more up to the clubs to do as much as they possibly can, and some of them are. I've seen on social media there's a lot of clubs trying.
I'm sorry,
but I don't know if IMG's responsibility is to try and improve sales of season tickets now.
The question is,
even aware of
you're in a very frightening thing there, because if it isn't them, and they've gone, over to you clubs, let's see, let me get you ready. Over to you, let's see what you've got in their marking. Let's see how good you are. If they've done that,
that's what they've done.
Well, we're in bigger trouble than think then.
That's what they have done.
That's what it seems.
Because if they've gone like that, and we've expected them to come in and help this, and not help individually, help the full game. Their job is to grow the full game, because the RFL now are not doing anything. The RFL now have gone, see you later, we'll do the administration.
Correct.
If they're going to the clubs, so I'm a teacher, and let's judge all the clubs for 12 months' time, right?
They're doing the grading, yes.
Well, we've had it then.
And the point I wanted to make
We've had it even worse than you've ever believed. Because no one's pushing the boat, the big boat. The big boat needs to be pushed to help the little ones.
But Sky, I don't think IMG are going to be helping with the promotion of Super League. Sky.
So why are they here then?
Because Sky own the product.
We don't need them to judge who's bad and good in our game.
I'm on about Super League. Sky own the product to start promoting that. They want viewing figures on Super League next year for their advertising.
But why have we gone for a media company to buy into our company if we don't want them to push the game? It's ridiculous.
I'm not saying what we want them to do, but I don't expect them to do this.
What?
Why are they here?
Because I think that...
What's the point of them?
We know that their interest is from 2024. They're going to get a deal with Sky.
So there'd be nothing to be interested in.
Look.
They're going to get a deal with Sky.
I don't think they will if it goes that bad this year.
What you think IMG are just going to walk away after 1 year?
Potentially, yeah.
No,
I don't think they are.
I don't think...
I know what you're saying,
but
this is all I'm saying. Let me just say what I think. Sky, it's up to Sky to promote Super League because they want it for their advertising figures. I don't think Sky are that bothered about Rugby League because women's sport is booming, even other sports like
you're right,
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
So I don't think Sky have got that massive interest in pushing it. As we know from previous years, you don't see an awful lot of advertising for Super League on Sky. You don't see it on Sky Sports News getting covered very much. Now, if Sky aren't going to push it, no one is.
No, IMG should.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're saying about
IMG.
Yeah, it would be nice if it would, but I've not for 1 minute thought that they were going to yet. But clearly, we need them to. That's what I'm saying. I'm not surprised by what's happening. We need them to help, definitely. But I'm not surprised that they're not.
I'll tell you now, if you wanted somebody to sit back and judge for the next 12 months who's good and bad, we didn't need IMG for that. Let me tell you, Mick Glenn could do that. Anybody could do it. That's not against Mick. Most people could say Warrington are the best marketers of the company, the best run clubs and this and this. You could get it. You could write the script in 10 seconds about that. Mick could do an appraisal.
Nobody was doing it.
But no, let me tell you, don't bring the biggest media company in the world into our group and say don't have to do anything. They have to do something quick. Or why would we bring them in? Bring an investor in. Just bring. I tell you, they're done. Bring financial lads in from City, take over a thing, and they won't do a thing with marketing. You don't bring a marketing company and say, if you do well, we're going to give you 10, 12 million quid. That's what they're on a non-commission base.
Correct.
Well,
so why the hell are they not selling? Let me tell you, when I had 50 salesmen and they're on non-commission, one thing they're not good at is selling because they know that's the only way they get a drag. Now, if IMG want to get a drag of this money, they better get their asses out and start doing something. Or what you're saying is after Christmas. Now, I don't agree with that because I know historically Christmas presents are usually season tickets and the lovely gestures. If we let Christmas roll and then we pick this up in January, behind the crisis that's coming,
I just think
we could be in the absolute mire. And do you know what, Jimmy? We don't need a lot to kick our game any further. That ladder, what we're going down, we have historically been down. We're never going to get back up if it goes down again.
All I'm saying is I don't think IMG are going to... I think IMG are in an assessment stage for 12 months.
They should have done that 12 months before.
Well...
Yeah, what was the last year? I thought the last year was there. Exactly. They did the emails, they did the campaign. I thought that was last year. That's what they
should have been appraisal year last year.
I think it was. I think that was the appraisal year. To be fair, they did the email campaign.
But they announced they're going to do the gradings through this year. That they've made it clear that they're assessing this year. I disagree. I said last week I think that they dropped a clanger and they should have said that this coming season is weighted on on-field performance and that's involved with next year's assessment. But they've said you're getting assessed in 2023. Correct. And they're going to go in 2024, which, like we said, we can't afford for.
It goes live in 2024.
But it's over to the clubs. The clubs have got to do all they can in this year where IMG are not going to be that involved. That's what it seems like.
Good luck.
I think
Look,
that's if I can I sorry mate, I apologize. Can I dive it, because I'm gonna say from coming back from America a year and a half ago now, my big thing was the social media on the club side. It's run like it's a local five-a-side team. They do funny little videos, and that's as best as it gets.
And we've improved.
Which is fun, yeah, like I said, which is 10 times better than where it first was. But a funny video announcing someone isn't going to get you season ticket sales. It will get you a few laughs on a Thursday night when it gets announced. Brilliant. But it's not going to. The clubs are a lot of them. There's some that aren't. To be fair, are just miles off with marketing, miles off with doing the social media. Like you said, football now. Sky. I recently watched a show on the football in the Soccer AM spot on, I think, a certain day now. No, not the Soccer AM. I'm just saying the morning slot before Soccer AM is done by YouTubers, and that's on Sky. They've drafted in 4 YouTubers who talk about it. That's on Sky. They've drafted in YouTubers. Like I said, boxing was in this big decline because UFC's took over. What have they done? They've drafted in the top YouTubers. Now boxing's actually on the up on the back of riding these YouTubers. Not saying it has to be YouTubers, but we need to be inventive. We need to undo the box. A video of a transfer going, hey, this top crap. Most of them are pretty funny, to be fair, but that's not going to get you season tickets. There needs to be.
They used Jack 6 months after they should. They waited for 4 months and then started throwing Jack round grand final 5 months after he'd come out of England. Because we called it out on show saying why they're not using Jack.
So that's I agree with Jim. The clubs are miles off, but then
I'm not saying that.
No, I am. I'm saying that. I'm saying the clubs are miles off of their marketing. You're sitting on the fence, Jim, for some reason.
I don't think they are miles off.
In terms of,
I don't. I think you've got to.
What's your answer then, Jim? You said no to IMG. You said no to clubs. Where are you going?
No, I'm not saying no. I would love IMG to do it. All I'm saying is I didn't expect them to do anything yet. That's
but then you said no with the clubs marketing. So what's your answer?
I don't think we can be too critical of the clubs. I think what the marketing that clubs are trying, what I see on social media, I think they're trying. I've seen Bradford come out with initiatives. They're plastering it everywhere. Under 18s all next year go free. They're trying things to get.
Yeah, I didn't say all. I said no. I know,
but I think a lot of clubs, again, with the money they don't have unlimited marketing budgets. Of course, it would be nice if they invested more and if they had more to spend. The problem is, how do we get new fans? That is the number one problem. I've not got.
But whose job's that?
You've said no to every single layer of it. You've said no to the clubs.
Jimmy. I'm asking who. I thought that's what we brought the biggest media company in the world in to do.
Yeah, and I hope they do, but I think that's going to come in time. I think they're waiting.
Do you know if you want to buy a company, let me finish, before you buy it, you drive it down. If IMG had sat there and they were a price to buy Rugby League and they went, right, drive it down, leave it to bones, and then we'll pick it up and we'll rise like a falcon. That's what business is, right?
Correct.
This is a signed agreement that they get no money, but they get
it's a 12-year
percentage of anything they improve the deals with. They get so they're gambling as well as us, right? Yeah. We're hoping that they've seen something. But again, I'll say it. We could have brought anybody in. They've obviously gone for the media company, thinking one thing we're not very good at in Rugby League is selling ourselves. The sport usually does sell itself. We've got a great product. The mixing earlier on, I don't agree with that. We have got a great product. What we're doing is rubbish at selling it. So tactically, you've gone and got the biggest media company in the world to come over to your sport and embrace it. All I'm saying is, where are they? And what they've brought in at the moment, if they're sat back with the penny books assessing, well, I can tell them, if they want to come and sit on the show, we'll do it. We can tell them exactly what's going to happen in the next 12 months. Because we never change. That's why we want them in. We never change.
Look. The RFL bringing in an IMG is an admission of failure. It's an admission 100%, of failure. On Ralph Rimmer, Karen Morehouse, Simon Johnson.
Historically.
Yeah. Before, with Nigel Wood, Brian Barwick, it's an admission of failure. The fact the RFL have had to go to the IMG to give away potentially a percentage share of any future growth in the game to show them how it should be run. Look, ultimately IMG has come in and they've looked at the structure, they've looked at a number of things. Media and marketing, they're going to be using 360 Media, their media company, and that is going to do YouTube shows. The media profile is going to improve. The worry is, I see rugby league right down there, and it's a generational issue. This isn't going to change overnight. I don't think 12 years is enough to transform rugby league. I genuinely don't. I don't think you're going to get that growth. You're not going to replenish. I know I said natural wastage. I want to try and explain. Year on year there's a decline because people sadly either walk away, they fall out of love of the sport, or sadly they pass away.
The average age of a fan is 60, 58, 59 years old.
It was in the mid-50s when the RFL shared the data. This is the season ticket holders at all the clubs. It's in your 50s. That's the average age of a season ticket holder.
I get it.
So don't think anybody disagrees with that. On the point of marketing and media, I know, and a lot of my good friends in the sport are media and marketing people, young people, fresh out of university. Let me tell you, some of them are on 13, 14, 15,000 pounds. That is where the buck stops with the clubs. No offence to some of these young people, they'll go on and they'll use rugby league as a stepping stone, maybe end up at a football club, maybe end up at a Premier League football club. But sadly, the clubs are at fault, to blame, and I've made this point before on this show. If you're a Super League club and you're just going to employ somebody on 13, 14,000 and that's your whole media marketing, there's something wrong.
Yeah,
there's something wrong. And another thing what IMG are probably terrified at, I won't name the club, but one Championship club this year had £6 in the bank after paying their players, and they were desperate to get a big crowd the following week so they could make the payroll. I know we're not talking Super League here, we're talking Championship, but this is what makes me laugh and it frustrates me. I get what IMG are trying to do. They're trying to get everybody from a C to a B to an A, but it is not just going to happen in the time frame that IMG is specifying, because the clubs are broke, they're skint. They do not have the money. They've burned through all the COVID reserve cash. That is what I'm hearing from Championship chairman. We know one Championship club, it's asked its players and staff to take a 20% pay cut. We know the majority of Championship clubs, they're not really throwing money at this anymore.
This one told me that the floodlights, they're having to have the floodlights off because they can't afford to have them on. So they're having to.
This is what I'm trying to say,
Craig. Trying to put them on for a certain amount because the timing. And it's that serious.
It is.
He told me the price of it, and I said, "Well, how do you train?" He said, "Well, we're not going to train under floodlights tomorrow.
Correct.
We're going to find another chance to now."
That's why I get so angry, because it's like, well, that's probably why I got passionate with you there, Jim. If I'm explaining myself, is that
don't apologise. It's good.
Craig,
it's good, but I'm apologising for getting so thing, because I think if we don't get passionate, there's no point of us doing this. There's no point of. We won't have a job. What's the point of us even, like, on a serious note?
Yeah,
it's that serious. This is our future.
But you don't have to get like that. Jimmy might be like that, but he's got a different style of.
No, I'm saying that's what I'm apologising for.
All I'm saying is the reason why
you told me not to apologise. Sorry, Dad told me not to apologise.
Jimmy, hold on a sec. I was just defending because of these reasons. Because clubs either don't. Some clubs could put more money into marketing, and I'd be more than happy to be critical of clubs if I knew they had X amount of money and they were spending it in areas I didn't think. I'd be critical, because everything, the 70% of big companies' budgets now, I think Coca-Cola, even though they're the biggest brand in the world, and Apple, they still spend 30-40% of profit on marketing.
McDonald's.
Now, some clubs, and these are ones I feel sorry for, that are trying their hearts out on social media with a new graduate, £13,000 a year media marketing manager. I think they're trying their hearts out and they're doing what they can with the money they have that can put into it. Advertising on billboards and doing a big media campaign costs so much money. Some clubs just can't even do that. They're trying to do what they can. And for me, it comes down to whatever way they can next year. The big thing for me is every club should try and increase their average attendance by 10%, 15%. But that should all be under 21s. And any initiative they can do to bring children in or bring students in. Sheffield are on the doorstep of the union now. They're going to try and tap into that student audience. Bradford are letting under 18s in. clubs need to keep, for me, doing that to get in this next generation and build up the fans like that. They might not get any extra income in the short term, but they've got to start getting the fans in, especially on the grading. If they want to hit that magic 5,000 attendance number, if York want to be considered as a Super League team, they need to start showing they can get 3,000 or 4,000 at Championship level. Keighley need to kick on doing what they're doing and do the same. It's all ways to get kids in and get young people in.
Here's a couple of initiatives. So what we'll do from now on, if you're watching this, please put loads of comments down on what you would do, because sometimes I can't mention it, but I was at somebody's house last night. It was very business wise, done very well in his life, and he got this new idea of somebody who was on a train, and he said I can't tell you why he is in his field, but he got this idea off a stranger who said blah blah blah, and this was a fantastic concept. He said he usually wouldn't have listened, but he said for some reason I did. So let's get as many comments in of how we would. I'm going to throw to it. Going to throw to it, and this is me off the cuff. So I'm not going to sit back and I'm going to say, right, here's one. Mr. YouTube himself, who spends the most on YouTube.
Oh, Mr. Beast, yeah.
Mr. Beast has provided now the second biggest selling burger in the UK or in the world.
It's growing, yeah.
It's growing. Get a deal with him to supply forget about making them thingy burgers, get a deal with him to supply all grounds with that and use his marketing ploy to try and get people in.
They can't afford him, that's what I'm saying.
I'm saying get IMG to speak to him and see if he'll cut offer him a deal. Let me finish.
No,
let me finish. I'm giving you...
You're preaching to the wrong demographic.
Yes, let me finish.
50-year-olds are not on YouTube. 50-year-olds do not care about...
We're not trying to sell them, mate.
That's Blackpool. That's back to Candy Floss. We don't want that.
But they're not going to come. Young people are not going to come and watch Leeds versus Salford.
They might.
Or
so you can bring them in.
Huddersfield, if you can get a Mr. Beast burger. I'm sorry.
They are. You've never been as far off in your life. It's exactly the opposite.
You get Paul Aiken, okay, I can sell Mr. Beast.
I'm telling you, they will.
They will.
Because he can sell a burger in the middle of anywhere. He's saying to you, I'll come to UK now and sell McDonald's. And he's doing it because all kids love his YouTubes and they're coming in to get a burger. He's set up he's now just said this morning, he's going to set it up, so he's done satellite ones where you get it delivered to your home, yeah?
He only works, so basically and now
he's going to buy his own.
Yeah, he only works off doing Uber Eats that you can set up in your house, do a kitchen, Uber Eats it, or any of the other ones.
It's a brilliant concept.
They don't have an actual at-home thing. They've just set up their first one in America, and it's about to do sales that you could never even...
They reckon they're queued up for 3
days to work for the opening.
He's
3 days for a burger opening.
All I'm saying is use it. He's got...
Yeah, but you can't because he's too expensive.
He's not expensive at the moment, but he's trying to get a product out. He said he's doing deals all over. He'll deal with anybody.
What, you think he'd come for $5 grand?
100%.
He'll be 200 grand.
I'm not saying he'll be... No, not him. Forget about him. Do a deal with his brand. His brand now. He can sell anything because his brand's there. Yeah. Been one of the first ones to initiatively say, why don't you do a deal with us? We can sell 10,000 burgers on a weekend. Give us your best price. That's what you do. That's business. Second one I'd throw in on the back of that, I'd probably throw in something like, before we start this year, let's have I'm not going to say a cage fight, but let's have a competition to find out who's the best wrestler in every club, and every club sends one player. And we do it up Wigan.
Fastest player, it was the best thing.
But I'm saying we'll do this one. So let's say we do it, and every player sends somebody. Me and Joe were very lucky on Friday to watch Wigan wrestle. I've never seen anything like what they did they did a drill where they had a wrestling drill, and the one in the middle had to fight people coming in. And it was first one to thing, and we were sat there and went, oh my God, they've got a UFC cage MMA lad there who's playing rugby as well. Him and Morgan Smith is locked on. It was best fight today. They actually went, Ed were going in, and I thought everybody send one, launch it. You could do it at Wigan in that thing they've got, and get every club to send their top man, because I've heard for years every club keeps saying we've got the best wrestle. Matty Staunton, they reckon, hadn't been beat at KR. Mitch Garber at Leeds historically, they reckon they couldn't move Mitch, you could move anybody. Morgan Smithies at Wigan, they're saying take some beating. Get every club, get it on YouTube. Forget about Sky, do it on YouTube podcast and get as many people as you can. Do you know what we could do? We could sell seats. We could get all fans come and watch it, and they bring them in arena, and all teammates are there. We could make a massive thing and we could do it. Let's fight. Our game is 30% wrestle. We've got a real wrestling culture. It's that we don't, you know what I mean? We don't box, them days have gone. We don't do the old taekwondo, but we do wrestle.
Yeah.
So why don't we do a wrestle thing? Get somebody to sponsor it. You know, get something like SJM concerts to come on. Get a good arena, get them in middle, and we'll do it.
That's brilliant.
And it'll be fantastic. Every club, champ on champ, Super League, send your man in, get your support base, get behind it.
That is a better idea. That is a better idea than burgers. I'm sorry, Craig.
Sorry, it's the concept of using somebody who now can attract numbers.
You'd pick
they
an
laughed
English
at this
one,
guy when he
pick an
said,
English person.
I'm going to sell burgers and I'm going to challenge him. No, they thought, tell you what, biggest nut job. What they didn't realise is, Mick, he spends 32 million a month on YouTube and social media. So he's got the power to make anything. And he's gone, here, make your own beef. When I read it, I'm like, he's not even making the burger. He's giving you the things to make this burger. And then you can sell it on by using Uber. Do you know what I mean?
Steph my sister.
Oh, Steph Kilder said to get one.
Yeah, we've ordered quite a few already.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Have they come yet?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they've come, they've had them.
Yeah, they're in England now.
Give us an idea, what do you get? How much does it cost?
Oh, they're brilliant. They're about £8 a burger. They're expensive. They're about £8 or £9 a burger, but brilliant burger.
It's the best burger you've ever got.
Two patties, bit of sauce. Then each. So on the YouTube channel, on the YouTube channel, there's about 5 of them. There's always top man, and then to advertise this type of burger, they call it the Mr. Beast. I don't know the rest of the name. I don't watch them personally, but I know what it is. It's like, I think one of them's like they have their own, but each character has their own burger, and then you can order their burger, and that's how they sell it, rather than a McDouble. It's I think the other one's a Chandler burger, and I keep saying it's the only one I really know, Mr. Beast, and then they have a couple where it's their name, their burger.
Sam can get all info on it and we can put it up, but that gives you an idea of us doing a cent. It's not, I'm not saying he makes the best burger, I'm saying he comes with as much weight behind him on social media, and he wants to get into UK, he wants to get into European market.
And the thing is now, and to go off, sales isn't about how, sadly, a lot of times now, and I've been deep, because it's confused me, sales now isn't about how good your product is anymore. Them days have now gone, the last 2 years. It's about how good your social media is. Simply, you can fake it. If you do your research, and I'm probably going to sound daft, but if you do your research on most of these people on YouTube, most of them aren't what they claim to be, but everyone believes they are, because that's the modern game. That's the modern game. The billboard, you mentioned, big billboard campaign, that wouldn't get 5 sales. Them days are gone. It's all about, I'd pay who are the biggest stars. Sorry, this is my idea. I'd get Jack Wellsby, you're chucking Sam Tompkins, I'd chuck them all, say, lads, I need you to create I need you to create a YouTube channel. I need you to start do behind the scenes. You do your own, you vlog, you do your own stuff. Chad Townsend does it for North Queensland Cowboys. There's quite a few that in other sports that do it. I know in NFL they've got loads of them that now do it. We've got to get our top 10. Each club should incentivise 2 or 3 of them to start their own channel, get their own channels going with content. We know how much it costs to run a YouTube channel. It's not crazy money, but none of them have got any YouTube that are any good. It's boring.
Now the top selling drink in the world is Logan Paul's and Prime. My brother's selling it like hotcakes, and I think he stood outside bloody Tesco's, and you can only buy one at a time. The car stood outside. He said it's unbelievable, the demand for Prime is that serious now. Now, we're probably too late for the Prime one. We probably should have done it when we first did it a year and a half ago, say, look, any chance we can put Prime in. All I'm saying is concepts like that, which have got a massive social media, YouTube following, we've got to get into some. If there's the next branding coming out, why can't we do a centralised deal for all stadiums? I don't know what deals we're in, but something where we can, do you know what I mean? Mick, let's be honest. And I'll pick your club at this. Bradford.
Yes.
We then say to a young kid, and Jimmy's saying we get the young kids, he's exactly right. Let's get the young kids in the game. What is the game day experience for a young man coming to watch rugby league? Because we took Huey a bit. Huey sits ahead in there, which is one of the best things. But Huey sat watching a game he didn't understand within, within 20 minutes, he's freezing. He was sat there he sat there. He didn't understand it. He didn't know what to do. He said, "Can I play something?" And I said, "Well, there's nowhere for him to play." We took him back upstairs. He wandered round and he said, "There's nothing for me to do. There's nothing for me to do. Right? There's nothing. We've got to make things happen. Whether that be putting a games rooms in, whether that if you come with your family, I don't know. But we've got to get with it quick. We've got to let them relate to something on the pitch. I always said years ago, we got 2 mascots, but everyone thought, well, I'm going to pay $3,000 for this mascot, Vila the best Dons players of all time. But Shane got it right. He built them. Then we used to take them down to every school, everything. You know, historically, you have been one of the best marketers. Keith Lee in the day, the best marketers. We need something quick, honestly. And I thought, this is where I've got wrong, and maybe we need somebody from IMG, invite him to come on the show. Or certainly a chairman or a CEO knows a bit more than us. But I did think they'd get these ideas that they could all bring together and what people do and say, listen, do you think these could work? The food's not that good going to a rugby game. Unfortunately, I'm only being honest. It's not that good. Mate, we've sat at Bradford and you've gone and ran 300 metres to go and get a sandwich. And let's be honest, I bet at Bradford, Mr. Wood invited us. Do you want me to be honest?
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't pay for the meal if it wanted to watch the match. A bit of gravy on chicken is not, it's not what you just said about a burger. Then if you give me that and it come in all the tradition and bang and it were cooked fresh and you're like, oh my God, it's not that. Do you get me? I've been to Warrington, I've been to Saints, it's all right, but I don't see that.
I've got one for you. That's what I see.
Maybe OKR with the thing, but even that can be improved massively, Jim. We've done it, and it's good, but there's loads more you could do with it.
I've got one. There's a YouTuber you lads might know. He's called Rate My Takeaway.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
He eats takeaways. Why don't you work with him? He's got 580k subscribers. I know this because all my friends watch him.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Is he the breakfast man from Leeds, or is he not? Is there another one?
No, he's the guy who sits on the table outside.
Sits on the table outside the lounge. Yeah,
he likes rugby league.
That's why I picked
called, damn it.
Leeds Rhino support.
That's why I picked him. I know he's the Leeds Rhino. Sam loves it. All my friends watch him. Why wouldn't you do a big campaign with him? Lads, get on board with us, Danny.
Invite him to every game.
Get him to every game.
He's done one at Headingley.
But he needs to do all of them.
They need to use him and make him a figurehead, saying that he's got 580k subscribers. I imagine most of them will be English because he's got a strong accent.
So that's more than all the clubs put together, is it?
Yeah, younger as well. Probably.
Younger, all my friends watch him. Yeah. So that's why wouldn't you get him to do everything for you?
Go on the Super League YouTube page while we're here. We'll get he's got 580k.
Super
League YouTube.
You'll cry at this. 36k.
Wow.
Which is less than Rhinos.
Yeah.
Rhinos is the top.
Rhinos lead the way, don't they?
This is what I'm trying to say, Craig. The demographic of our fan base,
they
are not on YouTube.
But we want
no, it's smaller than Rhinos. Rhinos 14k. That's the biggest club in our sport.
RFL. Twitter.
RFL.
Well, show me the money. Rugby league is slowly catching.
I'd say, yeah, we will.
Mick, give us a simple idea for people watching.
Just give you one that rate.
No, it's brilliant. I love it. Jimmy, think of what you'd like to see.
Look, I think IMG are between a rock and an hard place, and the point I was going to make earlier was
25k rugby league. Rugby league.
So that's what we're dealing with, and I stand by what I said. When you look at the actual money and where rugby league is, I think when you actually put it up on that table, we're like 13th or 12th spot in the UK, and it is heartbreaking to see Women's Premier League ahead of us now. But fair play to the Women's Premier League, there was Arsenal. There was Arsenal, Man United the other week.
But give us a bit of. Don't sit on the fence.
No, I'm not sitting on the fence. I'm not sitting on the fence, Craig. I'm just saying.
What do you want to see?
Listen, I think there needs to be a massive kick up the backside, and there needs to be some hard, honest words with the custodians of the clubs. Are you the right person to take this club forward? Now, we know these clubs have been there since since the great meeting at the George in 1895. But when IMG, and this is what I picked up from that meeting, I'm sat there and I'm hearing this presentation from IMG about professional standards, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. That's on one hand, that's what IMG expects. On the other, you're hearing clubs have got £6 in the bank. You're hearing they're paying the media manager 13k. Some clubs have volunteer media managers because they can't afford it. There was one club asking around farmers' fields because they can't afford the electricity or the heating to do pre-season training. I don't believe they don't come back till next week.
Yep.
1st of December. So they'll be back end of this week or next week. But there is one club, they're actually, do you know any farmers' fields? And I know you might laugh at it, farmers' barns, sorry. They're actually looking at farmers' barns to train because they can't afford to hire or rent anywhere. So if IMG are not looking at this and thinking, oh my effing God, what are we working with here, then it's not going to work, Craig. It is not going to work. The whole system of IMG coming in, and this is what I'm saying, it's that old school mentality. You know, I'm not saying it's only Fools and Horses and Del Boy and Rodney and Trigger. I'm just saying, look, rugby league, it has that sort of parochial nature, as a way of doing it, which they've always done since year dot. And that is what needs to happen. That glass wall needs to be broken, Craig.
We mentioned on Friday to Chris Radlinski, but if Joe remembers, I said to Chris about us having debating the salary cap moving up last year. I said, let's scrap the salary cap, we should have done it years. It's ridiculous, it's all ridiculous. And he actually didn't have a problem with it. He said, but other people would.
Correct.
Because I'm not quoting Chris, but he didn't seem to. And he said, it's weird you've said this, Craig. He said, I've got a friend who's multi-billionaire. And he said about talking about getting involved in rugby league. And he said, the guy said, so what you're saying is, if I come into the sport and I had the money to buy the 5 best players in the world and bring them to my club, which I bought, I can't do it. When, yeah, you can't do it. He said, why would I buy it? Exactly. Well, I've said that 10 years ago on the show. Why would you get a guy who might have 20 million surplus, and then he goes, oh no, it's salary cap, you're going to take you 5 years before you see anything. They're just not going to do it. The dream of having somebody, the dream of having somebody short term, long term, or whatever. He's not. Just get him in. Yeah. Get him in. Do you know what? What's Ryan? Is it Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
What a fantastic thing! Sunday gets a football club. He's now the profile of that club. Is
massive, isn't it? Massive.
The trending on the day he's got.
They've got Wales going, haven't they?
He's done this new thing which I shirt. I think last 2 days done another one, and it's like a film thing. I'm thinking they're going to do a massive Netflix on it. You can see what's coming. We need to get inside our things, get some Netflix, get people excited about being involved in our game. And again, I keep saying this. I probably dreamt that IMG might have had a list of promoting something and then going, right, who wants to pay to this? And when these clubs are ringing up at IMG or RFL and saying, hey, somebody's just approached us because they've watched what we've done media-wise, they want to get involved in rugby, they've got 10 million quid, where do they go? And they go, well, he's for sale, he's for sale. What you're saying, he's got to go because they're stuck in mud. They've got to go, they're stuck in mud. Because we've got the answers that they're all stuck in mud, they're not willing to change. We've got chairmen, CEOs and supporters who are not willing to change. Well, if they're not, unfortunately...
This is the point I was trying to make, Craig. IMG want to drive professional standards. They want the C's to be B's, B's to be A's. I just think, and this is no disrespect to anybody currently running a rugby league club or people involved in rugby league, I just think because people are set in the ways, in the nature of how they go about doing business and how they believe their club is best run, we're in a situation where what IMG want probably will not happen. I don't want to be negative. I want IMG to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, but I genuinely, honestly do not feel, and people will be watching this and going, well, Mick, it's 12 years, it's a 12-year plan. Well, how are we going to grow the sport in that 12 years? Because, you know, you can talk about Mr. Beast burgers and you can talk about Rate My Takeaway, you can talk about wrestling and everything like that, but that might, if that's not going to roll out next year, that'll be 24, 25. And then you're starting, honestly, I say this, we're starting at the lowest we've ever been. To get new fans, to keep rugby league alive for generations to come. I mean, rugby league is always going to be there, but we are facing an existential crisis where the crowds are down, the season ticket sales are down 30% on average. You know, the fan base is diminishing.
Do you know a good one what somebody commented on, and we sometimes should read out some of the comments for people.
We actually got loads last week, so
got loads, yeah, and gave to me, but there were a lot. And some guy said, bloody success in World Cup, he said, Sinfield got more traction than any World Cup by making what Kevin did was amazing, by the way. But what Kevin did got more traction.
That's correct, Craig.
He were ranting a bit, and I thought afterwards, I get you, that's a great cause, but I get what you're saying.
It says, a success, I bet Kevin Sinfield charity run has got more national press and national interest than the World Cup got.
As it should, it's a great cause, we'll try and, we'll send there,
Well, that's positive, because then people
we've got personal thing for us, Joe, so our personal view is brilliant what Kevin, but it's ridiculous.
No, he's still, but even Kevin
Sinfield, just read out the comment, I wasn't
Kevin Sinfield doing that, then people are like, well, who's Kevin Sinfield? Like, what's his background? And that in itself is promotion of rugby league.
Because apart from when they say
a few questions and that, yeah, but
it's still getting some form of rugby league.
Because all my mates were saying to me, "Where's Kev then? Which club?" And I said, "Oh, he's at Rugby Union Leicester." And when I said it, they went, And I went,
you know what I mean. He's doing it for Rob Burrow, who's a rugby league legend. It's the thing. It's getting something. I mean, for me, a bit more old school, because I'm not as well up on YouTube as you are, Joe, and even you, Craig. But I want it so that next year, Championship and League One and Super League, but particularly for Championship clubs and League One clubs who really, if they're going to do anything, it's now or never. I feel like they can still do more with community junior clubs, whether it's working with when their fixtures are. I like the thought of, you could have 200 kids who've all played on the Sunday morning who then go straight to their local team because they've got free tickets. You know, or the parent pays half price for a ticket but the kid goes free, or the parent pays full price but he gets a portion of chips for each kid. It costs for
man, what's it called, Mr.
Burger. If they're not going to pay £9 for a burger, they'll have it, let's be honest. But I think to get the...
They do, that's what they do.
Yeah, but
they do.
No, your average rugby league fan, it's hard for £9 a burger. You know, that's 30 quid for 3 kids. But that's where, to get the next generation, the best place to start is for young players who are playing. It'll be great to get brand new people in, but we've got to convert the people who are already playing rugby league and interested in rugby league into attendances. We should have 200 under 15s at every League One Championship game every season.
For years,
I've got a controversial view on that, if you don't mind. Can I counter you? Call me an idiot if I'm miles off. Sadly, Yeah, okay, fair enough. Most sports, sadly, I do believe that's a lovely idea, and actually, like, the way to... That's probably a 20-year plan for me.
It's an absolute necessity.
But
now.
I see, that's why I'm disagreeing with you. I think, sadly, sports, whether we like it or not, and it's not the nice answer, are sadly run by multi-millionaires and billionaires. Every big sport, football, NFL, F1, every big sport survives on billionaires and multi-millionaires. We don't let ours loose. We don't let ours have any power. We don't let... It's not the right answer because it goes against the rugby league values, but probably the truthful answer is we probably need to let our multi-millionaire...
I totally agree with that, but
billionaire
why can't we have young kids coming?
No, I'm not saying they can't. I'm saying that's not... I'm saying that's not an important thing.
Number one is money,
Yeah, that's... For mixed 15 long year plan, that's 100% needed for the growth.
Your other problem, and this is what me and Mick have probably done this 15 times, and we have done it every year, is your problem is we don't have superstars as well. So we haven't got that big characters to attract the people who would be interested in. So all these YouTubers, they follow sportsmen, they love them, you know, they like to be around them. One thing about a good sportsman, people like to be around them historically. Movie stars, this star, they like to be around it. We don't have that because anybody who's any bit of thing goes to other comp anyway. You know, eventually they seem to leave. We've got to find a way in IMG of keeping that player. Do you know why they can do it, Mick? Do you know, there's another idea. When we do get these superstars who are coming, IMG should profile them superstars, and I've heard they're gonna. But don't be scared how far you do it and take the power off the clubs. If you can make one of the, you know what I mean? Historically, they'd say agent shouldn't try and get him all these big deals because then you're playing with his head. Yeah. But IMG could do it without no one saying no. IMG could grab 10 players and say, we're going to make super, take them everywhere, take them to Grand Prix, take them to opening of this, take them to Peter Kay's opening thing, whatever. Get them everywhere. And then build up the brand, and all these people of the brand would be massive. We don't have any brand to sell at the moment. Our biggest club is St Helens. They're only known in a certain area.
Leeds are the biggest club.
Sport.
Leeds are the biggest club.
I'm saying St Helens are our best club at the moment. And they're not
on field.
They're not known anywhere away from where they're at. Your big problem is that is your big problem, and they are going to have some very innovative ideas, and we aren't going to be scared for once. I'll give you a little story. Carl Eastman, and it didn't work out well for him in the end. But Carl Eastman when I signed for Warrington, I can say it now because it's all gone. And part of the deal with his agent was, I want you to make Kyle a brand. What can you do for me to make my client? This is when they were at Saints, and they were looked to review him. So they took him to Warrington, which you would do. Simon Moran would try and make him a global brand, and I think Simon got him to the an awards dinner. What's it called? Begins with K. It's the music awards, and I think he did that. He did this. And already, I think he went to X Factor, was singing crowd, whatever, and whatever part of this thing to make him stay in our game. it was actually doing the right thing in a way of saying, you know, we'll try and make Kyle into this, and he just got into the England side. Yeah. Inevitably, we lost. He went to Sale Rugby Union, whatever he did. But actually, the concept of what we were doing, but he would have been absolutely slaughtered by all the other clubs and by the game for trying to get somebody to be a little bit different. Sam Tompkins, whether you like him or not, one of the best individuals for selling himself I've ever seen. Sam's already got a job at Sky, and he's just, you know, he's had a World Cup where he wasn't brilliant, but he'll already be working moves everywhere. Be working moves in France, what's best for him, he'll be working to be a player manager there or whatever. He'll have about 18 things because he'll be working the system. We can't look back at that. In fact, we're going to start saying that's good. But I promise you we can't move on along all this journey. We've got to get some superstars. And who have we got better in the world to promote a superstar? That's what they do for a living. Do you know what I mean? That's what they do for a living.
I agree.
And I keep watching best podcasting, Will Tyson's, Joe Rogan's, you know, whenever I could mention 10. You're watching them. They dare do things that we daren't. We just daren't. We daren't put a top player with joint on. I know we're not allowed that. Do you know what I mean? But they don't give a shit. They've got Khabib.
Let's have a go.
Khabib's on Tyson's thing. Tyson's had about 9 things, 8 mushrooms, and Khabib's looking at him, and this is all happening. He got 2 million views, and Khabib called him out afterwards saying, I didn't like it because he had about 4 joints, he couldn't think of his religion, whatever. But they all dare do things that we daren't. Every single one of them things, my favourite, Joey Diaz, they just dare do things that we wouldn't dare do. We're so guarded. We're so guarded in saying, do the right thing. It's not the right thing. Rugby league doesn't have to do that. Oh my God.
Well, it sounds that I've got one to add on you that, and you might. What about, you know, when an amazing try scored? Even celebrating, if a player celebrates too much, they get more stick than anything I've ever seen. Terrible. If someone does a flip in the thing, you get absolutely
terrible
destroyed. America now. I'm sorry for mentioning America. It's just what I know because I watch it. America now, the top stars. Every team, most teams have got their own dance when they hit a touchdown. They do. Minnesota, they've got Kirk Cousins, who's the most straight-laced Christian quarterback ever, sat in change doing this dance called the griddy, and he sat there doing the griddy, and they're like, what are you doing? Like, he looks daft doing it, but everyone finds it hilarious. Every team, they do double flips going, and like they get it going. They allow that rather than saying to him, oh, what a wank, you know what I mean?
It's because we're rugby league and we're no nonsense. We don't have that. We don't have a play acting of football. We don't have the, you know, nonsense. We're just dead northern. It's part of.
But we haven't got greyhounds and pigeons no more.
No, I know.
We haven't.
That's why we try.
We're not flat cap. When we were bragging about being flat cap and greyhounds and thingies, we're not that no more. Remember the Sky one, Mick? Yeah. The famous Richard Owen one.
Yeah.
If you ever want a thing that should not have been, and I don't knock Richie, but Richie was in his element, just got into England at Cast 23. Sky went to see him at his house, and they took him to a pigeon loft, and he sat there and he said, yeah, I'll have my pigeons, I've been doing it since I've been. And I'm watching it thinking...
He just played into that typical Norman stereotype.
And it was the opposite of what they should have done. They should have said, hey, this kid's out there, this is the clubs he goes to, he eats at the top restaurants. We need a changing, and we're scared. We're terrified of making Harry Newman the next global superstar.
But at the same time, I this is why the long-term strategy comes in, because I honestly think that the next few years should be focused on building in our area. I feel that the expansion, and I know it's what comes first, chicken or the egg, do we need to expand before? But I just think we should be focusing much more locally. If Bradford are down to 2,000, they need to get 2,000 back that live in stone's throw. I feel that everything should be on the M62 corridor within reason and build up that, and then we can start going out again. I feel that we've lost our core, so to go and try and find from over here and over here and over here, we're going to keep losing the core. We need to build this up, and then we're stronger to start targeting other areas.
Here's one that Leeds Rhino should have been given a chance. We had the sprint competition, Mick Jimmy Hampton earlier on, and they tried the best to get it, but again,
Rugby League's fastest man. I went to a few at Edinburgh, yeah.
And then the nines, which we all thought were fantastic. I love the nines. Yeah. But again, Leeds didn't get much help. They were sending certain players, and the other clubs never. But Leeds put it all on. Gary tried everything. They should be selling that. That could be a great. I think these ideas. I've heard IMG are going to do a nines, as a pre-tournament, either in mid-season or end of season. They're going to do something like that, which has not been done again. I think they'll try a lot of ideas, but I just wish, if I've got one wish for now, it's that somebody at the IMG comes out and says, we haven't forgotten about this year. Please, please,
bit of reassurance.
Don't you dare put the cues on the rack, because if you do, and you all tuck your belt in, and we don't get them figures, and we lose another 25,000 supporters to sport, they are picking up absolute bones. There's nothing left of the game. It's carcass. And they might want that. They might want to be seen as the people who drive it. But I tell you what, they better be good. They better be good, because, or if, like most things that happened in the last 20 years, if they come in and go, and we're still left with the old school, it'll be that late before they say it. Because here's another one to IMG. A lot of people are looking for other jobs. I've noticed that. I've noticed in rugby league, usually you stick in. Everybody I speak to in rugby league at the moment to start to say, I'm looking for something else. I'm looking for something else. I'm having to look for something else. Because they're scared of where the direction of the sport is, and they think there is no direction. They think there's no buzz. They love the sport with all the heart. But most coaches, I tell you now, will be writing the CVs for other comps. They're trying to get into other sports, which again,
a few of them have. Well, even going to Australia. I think some of our top coaches now have gone to Australia
they would do,
already.
Because they're seeing the direction of you're going again. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
So
yeah. And just we said about comments. I think what one of the IMG survey did show up, and what a lot of people have commented on our videos in the past, is that nines is something which is a chance for new fans to come, isn't it? Like I go back to cricket all the time. Cricket was really struggling, and they brought in a brand new product.
That's what
2020 came first, and that's almost like what we could have as nines. And we can put on a one-day event and get all the kids in, and if they love it, then they might go the following Sunday to a 13-a-side game. I do feel that we're crying out for an alternative on the classic, because that's what has changed cricket to become this, probably, I don't know, but I'd imagine the second biggest sport in the country again now, when it was really struggling. We need something like that.
We'd run that again. We keep offering. I love the RFL to call me out once, or MG. We do the wrestling one. We'd sponsor it.
That wrestling.
We'd organise it. We'd get the spectators. We'd get the things. We'd get the permission to do it in a certain arena. Here, let us loose and let us show what we can do. Let somebody else have a go. You've cocked it up that many times. You've not been funny. We've had that many different concepts. Here we go. Let us have one go. My mate Shane, who owns Oxford Elite Sports, Shane wants to do the Origin. He said he's put a plan together.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Let them have a go. At the end of the day, if people haven't been making it happen, let somebody else have a go who thinks they can, and say, we've given you an idea today. We'll have the top wrestler in the comp, and we'll go around to every club and invite one player who all the clubs invite, and we'll get a date, and we'll get the premises, and we'll sell it out. We'll get the YouTubes there, we'll get the TV, we might even get some of these beast burgers that I'll pay for everybody, just to get a bit of branding for them. There you go. Well, if there's 500 people in the arena, we'll get 500 burgers when our job to deal with Mr. Beast. But we'll do something, and we'll hand out tops, and we'll call it the whatever. We'll love to do that. We would love to get involved in doing something to help the sport, which is a bit innovative and a bit of something different. We can have a bookie come and put the odds up first at ground, and as soon as you hit the ground, you're out, and then it's through to the next round, probably a knockout basis, whatever they're doing.
Sounds bad. Are we allowed to say Rugby League? They've got Betfred as a sponsor, but then I don't think they even use Betfred correctly. Maybe that's Betfred's fault. I don't know the ins and outs on this one. But why don't they, like they do in other sports, to get it rocking? Betfred odds.
Because again, they seem to be pushing a bookmaker. We'll be scared. I tell you now, with Amazon Sport.
Why?
I said 10 years ago, let Betfred, it wasn't Betfred, it was another company, let them go into every single ground and let them have permissions to get bets.
I'm going to do it again.
We again, as a sport, we seem to be not pushing things like that. It's not, yet other sports, oh my good God.
UFC now, top betting, they've got a show called, for people who don't watch, they've got the Dana White Contender Series. I think it's on YouTube. They put it on YouTube or they put it on TV, I think, depending where you're from. They do it and all of the show is dictated on the betting. They've got the Greek Gambler on. They've got a guy called the Greek Gambler, gives us your best bets for the night. In every single fight, they've gone first round knockout, this, that, and they've pushed the betting, and that's how they sponsor. That's how they get the show. And then Dana White says we only want knockouts. He turned down a famous fighter called Brendan Lulane, who just won the PFL. I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Won the PFL thing for $1 million because Dana said no, we don't want that, because he tried to wrestle in the last minute when he were winning the fight easily, and he said none of that. We're getting in. We're going for knockouts. We're going for finishes. This is the aim of this Dana White Contender Series, and it's all done on the betting, so you can bet on the third round finisher, second round finisher.
Look at it. Here's one for you, Mick. We've got the Australia supporters watching our programme a little bit lately.
Yeah, and Samoans.
Can we get some of their comments? What would make you, David Fafita historically said on this show, you put it on at the wrong times for the Pacific Islands and Australia and New Zealand to watch it. Your times are terrible. It's only once it can do it. What do we need to do to get you watching and get our views up on Sky? How do we get you? Please help us to send these messages to IMG and to RFL. What do you think? What would make you want to come and watch our? We've got fantastic players from Pacific Island, from Australia, from New Zealand, Tonga, Fiji, all playing in our comp. What would make you watch it? And why don't you watch it? Dave said it's because of the times.
Well, do you know what the NRL do? I don't think this is allowed in Australia. You can do it on YouTube. NRL open it up to English fans. Maybe I don't know which countries, but I know England. They open it up there and they put most games on YouTube for us to watch it anytime we want. I can watch, I think, 2 or 3 games of every single round of rugby in the NRL on YouTube.
We did start doing that, but they didn't promote it. Remember, Mick, there's about 25 views on it.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be for us. Yeah, that should be for them. I think it's closed.
But I'm saying we don't promote that for them to watch it.
We know Super League's going. It's going to be totally rebranded. What they come up with, I don't know. What was interesting actually was yesterday when I bought the Sunday Times, big interview with Bill Sweeney, who's the RFU CEO. They're going to go for a division of 10 at the top, and then there'll be a 12 or 14 below it, and then that'll be it. They're just going to go for 2 divisions, and there'll be promotional allegation between them both, and there's going to be a brand new competition involving the top flight rugby union clubs with the championship clubs. Like I said, it pains me, because everything what rugby union's now doing on the back of Wasps and Worcester going into admin, they're basically cherry picking our ideas, and this is the heartbreaking thing. Rugby union, because of how it's run and their forward thinking, they will implement that, and they're going live after next year, 24. They're actually beating us by a year, and this is how quick they've acted. They're
going live in 2024.
No, we're 25 before it all
for
changes.
restructure, yeah.
But I mean, they're going live 24, and that's on the back of Wasps and Worcester. But
I think there's a couple more to come in.
To see how quickly they've acted and how quickly this sort of restructuring document has gathered.
We haven't even got. Do you know they haven't got a CEO in place to run it yet? They reckon the CV's gone to about 5 of them. Right. 5 people they've all turned it down.
Yes, correct. Because there's no power, Craig. There's no power.
So they're saying getting somebody in. But hey, listen, let's finish on a positive note, Mick. I think if they're set back and wanting this to go down before they come in on the white horse and what Jimmy's saying next year and smash it after Christmas, and people go, wow, my only hope, and we've all got the love of this sport at heart. Please don't let it go too far down that ladder before you pick something up. I know you have to, making it look like, but please, and let the clubs be honest to you and tell you what they're telling me, tell you what they're telling Mick, tell you what they're telling the lads, that they need a bit of help in getting this sport for next year, that we're not leaving it just to say, hey, it's just this season that never was. Because if we get a never was season, we won't survive.
And there's no shame in asking for help. There's no shame at all. I know we've been critical of the RFL leaving it till the 11th hour when the sport is well and truly on its arse, on its backside, bringing in IMG. But listen, like I said, a lot of these club owners, they genuinely care about the sport, but they are not the people to take the sport forward, sadly.
And my positive, like I said last week, is I still, with the championship this year, I know that the top end, Fev and Toulouse, aren't going, let's go massive, because they know that they could go up, but they could come straight back down.
Yeah.
But the chasing pack generally going bigger, because they, even though that they know they're not being assessed this year, they know that they've got to do more this year in preparation for next year.
Correct.
So I do think that it's had a positive effect on the championship, that those who've always held off a bit.
But if they'd have said whoever gets up this year stays in for 5 years, and whoever goes down is out for 5 years.
Well, you know exactly. Featherstone.
But
I suppose that again.
This is your last year. The last year you could have sold it as the last year,
last chance,
the last chance saloon.
But I think that probably would have only been then Featherstone and Toulouse, and it would have been a similar thing to last year. Yeah. I do think that this year is going to be good, because there's going to be more teams competing and setting themselves up.
Batley did compete, didn't they?
Yeah, and Batley, every anomaly, and they might be able to do it again, but it's going to be harder, because as we talked about last week, there's 3 or 4 teams who are spending near enough double of what they have done historically. So some clubs are getting themselves in position, ready for that 2024 when it counts, and it's the ones who've got money, which is what AMG want. It's what we need to see, because if they keep this momentum of you can only do it if you've got some funding behind you, then it will get to the point where the chairman and owners who've existed for a long time, they will go, well, there's no point anymore because we can't exist. So we're off. We need someone else to come in who's got some money to spend, and it will have that catalytic effect, and it'll just keep pushing everybody to keep up with each other.
Thank you very much for joining us on the full 80 minutes on Show Me the Rugby League TV. Have I got that right?
Show Me the Money Rugby
Show Me
League.
the Money Rugby League TV.
Well, if you put Show Me the Money in now, we're finally on Joe's YouTube. Mine does it anyway.
There you go.
If you type Show Me the Money in now, we come up top.
Yes.
Finally made it.
Keep searching Show Me the
Cuba Gooding Jr. still on TV. Tom Cruise is down.
But yes, next week, because the Rugby League World Cup is finally done and dusted, we're going to start focusing on transfers from Super League, Championship, League One, and hopefully we don't have to keep going on about IMG and who needs a kick up the backside. But yeah, it's quite depressing when you hear season ticket sales are down 30%. But we want to end on a positive.
Depressing show.
We apologise. But yeah, let us know in the comments if you've got any ideas how to stimulate growth. You know, we know Rugby League's facing that existential crisis, otherwise IMG would not have been brought in. You know, what the clubs need to do to attract new fans. Let us know in the comments. We'll certainly read them out next week. And also, any questions, put them in the comments for this week's show, and we'll do them next week. Yeah. Good night, God bless, enjoy.